give us a range of franchise sales organizations out there. There are some that are low touch, low cost, and some that are high touch, high cost. Some have require the brand to give them equity. Some don't have equity requirements. So can you give me a range of what you see of what these different FSOs are like?
Yeah, well, so let's break that into categories. We'll break it into service and we'll break it into cost. So from a service perspective, it's across the board. You can find an organization that will just help you set up the materials and train your team, right? I don't even know if I would qualify that as an FSO. That's more of a consultant because they're not going to actually go do the selling for you. But that's on the very front end, probably the least expensive. And then you can try to manage that with your internal team. You take a step up, you're going to find organizations that are going to do pretty much all the sales for you. And I say pretty much, use us as an example. We still need leadership to participate on a leadership call, usually once a week, and then confirmation day, which happens once a month, right? But besides that, we're going to do everything in that discovery or sales process. And there's several others out there that focus specifically on that discovery process. Then there's others that might even take it a step further that are going to do sales and they're going to start supporting operations. So they'll get into training, they'll get into day-to-day operations and continual support of franchisees. Now, again, I am a big believer in focus. And so that's why we do what we want to be the best in the world at that development process. I don't believe Fastlane would be where it is today if we were trying to be the best in the world at both development and operations. Now that we're really nailing, in my opinion, what's going on in the development piece, we may eventually someday move over to ops, but that's only going to happen once we feel that we're really, really good or the best in the world, as we like to say it, at this piece. So that's kind of how I would stagger it. You have your very front end training and development of materials. You have your organizations that are going to focus specifically on sales. And then you have the organizations that will do both sales, operations, things of that nature. So then when you get into cost, again, it's going to stagger just according to those three. The least expensive is going to be those organizations that are just training and building materials. For us, we are very much like a real estate agent, right? We have a pretty low monthly retainer that's going to get staff. It's going to get all the technology needed, even marketing, and it's pretty inexpensive. We spend quite a bit more than what we charge in a retainer. But where we make our money is like a real estate agent. When we award a franchise location, that person pays a franchise fee, and then we take a percentage of that. And it's going to be a different percentage based on if it's a lead that we drive, if it's an organic lead, or if it's a broker lead, right? We want to make sure the franchisor still has enough meat on the bone to afford the franchise development piece of it. Then if you take it to the next level, well, actually, I want to caveat this next piece. So the organizations that do both sales and operations, they're usually going to require equity, royalties, something of that nature. And so then that franchisor really just needs to evaluate and say, do I have the ability to build this internal team myself? Do I have the people? Do I have the understanding and the experience? And can an outside operational group know and support my franchisees as well as my own internal people could? In some cases, the answer may be yes. You're going to then trade equity and royalties. And so I would just encourage people to really think through what their exit strategy is, how much growth they think they have in front of them, and what it's worth. Now, where I think franchisors should avoid is those groups that are doing sales only and then requiring equity and royalties, right? I really believe that, and this is just one person's opinion, not everybody's going to agree with me, but the sales process, the team that helps the sales should be commissioned on the franchise fee and not through royalties and equity unless they're providing ongoing value, because that franchisor is now responsible. That franchisor is responsible for operations, training for potentially the next 10 years or more with that franchisee. And I just think it's going to be an expensive process for them. It's going to be a lot of hard work for them to do that. And so they should reap the rewards.
What is the argument that an FSO would have of why they do get equity? What's their argument? Say, gosh, we get equity because of what?
There's going to be two. One, if they're providing operational support, it's because we're offsetting your expense and we're going to create value, right? And that's the way that I think it probably makes sense if you're giving up equity. And then the other is just if a sales organization says we're going to take equity, it's going to be because we are going to award many more locations than you most likely could on your own, leveraging our process, leveraging our marketing understanding, our branding, and it's going to create a tremendous amount of value. And trust me, I think about that. I mean, we've had 4 brands sell to private equity groups over the last 18 months. Now, if they were with another organization and they had equity involved, that would have been quite a bit. So it's a fair argument when somebody says we're going to create a tremendous amount of growth for you, and that might be worth something.
Did you have a little bit of regret when you saw some of these brands exit for many zeros that you didn't have a piece of that? You've had a big exit. You've had a great big exit already, but no regret?
Well, not regret. Regret's the wrong word. I feel pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered, and we are doing just fine. The thing I like is the way we set ours up today is it's a win for everybody. It's a win for us. It's a win for the franchisor. It's a win for the franchisee. And so it just doesn't end in hurt feelings. It really is a great model for everybody. And so I don't have any regret. I think there's several brands that we've been able to represent because we don't require those things that maybe we wouldn't have otherwise.